Hi everyone, this is Barry from Jerusalem. This week's Torah lesson is Korach. God, when He created the world, man was created in the sixth day. And right before the end of the sixth day, He created the Shabbos. Right before the Shabbos, He created 10 things, just like He created the 10 Commandments before the Sabbath. And everything was created. The 6 days of creation was made in order that the Shabbos, the Sabbath, would be created. So 10 things were created, especially right before Sabbath. And one of them was that the land opened its mouth in the incident with Korach and Moses. What does that mean? Moses and Korach were very similar. They were both Talmidei Chachamim. They were both very learned in the Torah. They were cousins. They were both Levites. Levites were the ones that had the job. We all have a job. God gives us a job to do. And it's our mission in life to find what is that tafkid, what is that position that He gave us to do. So both of them were kind of like arguing. He's saying, wait a minute, I'm also a Levi. We're also from the same family. You're my cousin. Why are you doing this? You know? Now Korach, you have to understand, also was very wealthy. And then his wife kind of encouraged him to challenge Moses. But he had so much wealth, they said he had wagons, mules of keys just to just for the treasures that he acquired when he came out of Egypt. He came out of Egypt with a lot of gold. The Egyptians were so upset after the 10th plagues. They said, just leave. Just leave. I hear a little bomb drop, but it's not stopping me from having my Devar Torah here in the middle of Jerusalem on a nice sunny day. So, what happened? Oh, I hear another bomb. I hear a plane, but it still looks pretty good. I don't hear any sirens. Okay. Anyway, 10 things were uttered before the Sabbath, and this is from in the Talmud of Brachot, which is the tractate that mentions these 10 things. One was this, one was the land opening up, one was the talking mule at Bilam, and there was 8 others. But these are very significant because people who speak bad about the land got punished. We learned in last week's Parsha, Bishalach, the Jews were punished for speaking ill of the land. And that punishment, because they saw, the giants were great and we were like grasshoppers to the giants, they thought they couldn't do it. But God says, if I designated that you have a job, you need to do it. So He said, for this crying, for this lack of faith, and that's what it's about. Your connection with God is about having faith. For this insecurity that you have, you don't believe in me, that I did all these miracles and wonders for you, and you still can't accept my sovereignty as King of Kings? So, in this Parsha, the land opened up when Moses got in his hands and knees and prayed for God and prayed for Korach that he wouldn't have to concede to him. So he said, take your pans, give your offering. Whoever God's offering from the heavens will come first. This will be the chosen. What happened? Korach had 250 men. He put his pans out. A fire came from heaven. And the land opened up. The land opened its mouth. That was the sign from heaven. Now, if people speak poorly about the land, all the more so, how careful we have to be with our speech with people. So they spoke against the Holy Land. This is not an easy Devar Torah because I'm looking for missiles as I'm doing it. But the bottom line is you have to have faith, you know? Even to give a Devar Torah, you need faith, you know? If you see, I have to leave, I'm sorry. But in any case, this is what happened to him. He got swallowed up. So we have to learn from this small lesson that our speech is insignificant when it's derogatory, especially man between man and man against God. So we have to understand God's looking for our actions that help to develop our faith. There were only two, Caleb and Yehoshua. These were only two that says, yes, we can do it. So that's the idea here. Moses, in his humility, consulted with Hashem. Korach, even though he felt for the sake of heaven he was doing the right thing, he didn't approach it right because God had already designated Moses as his job. And you can't push up the clock. You can't say, if God has designated for you a certain mission, you can't say, well, I'm going to do this. Look what happened to David, King David. You know, he saw a beautiful woman. And what happened? You know, he kind of like pushed things ahead. And King David's son, Absalom, wanted to overtake the throne. But he didn't wait. He didn't have the patience. He didn't want to see what could happen. And in the end, Absalom passed away. And King David, because he was such a holy man, the book of Psalms is the book of David, he managed to pray for him and take him out of the hell that he acquired for going against his father. Because his father loves a child. So our Father in heaven is the King of Kings. He loves us. We're all his children. And we all have a job to do. So this week, think about yourselves. Think about your families. Think about your children. Where do you place God? What are you thinking about? Are you thinking of overcoming the family? Are you thinking of rebellion? No. You have to think on, what does God want me for my family? What does God want me to do in my purpose in being in this world? And as a Jew, every Jew's purpose is to keep the Sabbath and keep it holy. So with this in mind, have a holy Sabbath. I do this a little bit early because every day there's bomb threats, bomb alerts. Obviously this one didn't come to fruition. Even when I was giving this video, it cut out because it told me that a bomb was on its way. But thank God, nothing happened. Anyway, you should all see the current events of America and Israel working together, trying to destroy the forces of evil. And those people who don't know the difference between good and evil, that's what I'm here for. To teach the world, not just the Jews, but now the Gentiles, because I believe that the next redemption is for the Gentiles. The first redemption was for the Jewish people, but it appears that the Gentiles have taken action to do the right thing, to side with Israel instead of go against Israel. But there are those, the enemies of Israel, that are still, they don't see it. And there are certain elements that have infiltrated America, that had bought out the universities with bribes, because they send, for money, they send, not that they believe in anything, but they want to destroy the Jewish people. That was the whole purpose of Israel coming into Iran. They had to take out Syria within 600 days after the hostages on October 7th. And it's funny because Pharaoh in Egypt attacked the Jews with 600 chariots. 6 reflects the 6 days of the week. Sabbath is 7th. 8th is holy, like Hanukkah, like the Brit Milah, circumcision. So 6, 7, and 8 have a uniqueness. 5 is the 5 books of Moses. 4 are the 4 letters of God. This is all in the Passover Haggadah, which tells us, Lagid is to tell us about our past and our history. So this is what I'm trying to relate to you. In the past, Jews weren't supposed to even tell this to non-Jews, but I believe I have the permission to do it. If not, I'll also end up in not a good place. But I believe, and I felt as a personal mission, that this is the world has to know, because the world is losing its wisdom, which really emanates from the 5 books of Moses. It's the values of the world. But the values of the world is more or less anything goes. It's universal. We're all the same. Just like Korach said to Moses, we're all the same. We're not all the same. We all have to think that there's a creator and he has a specific job for us. Each one, even in its own family, has a specific job, and we have to find that purpose in our lives. So with this, have a good Shabbos.